So welcome. And here you can see I'm in Business Research Agent or Project Sophia, whatever name you like best. I added a sample of dummy data about employees. They're all singers, of course. And after sending the prompt that says, show me HR metrics and visuals based on this data, the blueprint is going to start generating, as you can see on the screen. It takes a little bit, but trust the process, please. You can see that here is preparing the research plan, so it's actually understanding what's the data behind. Also, of course, the data agent, the research agent, like bringing some context into the data that we have here, as well as the user experience that makes sense to make it easy and make it nice. You can see that is loading a little bit of some visuals, and we have, it's not super simple, but you can see that there are the visuals and then the front of the work comes to place. What I mean with front of the work, or I don't know the name, is here on the left side of the screen. You can see that there's something that says key HR metric analysis, and it has a lot of information. You can see that says, for example, a breakdown of the HR metrics, which was what we asked for at the beginning, headcount by department, tenure by department, and many other things that are over there. You can also see that there are much more things to do. We can either hover over one of these charts, scroll down through the key HR metrics, or also ask a question about the data. In a minute, you will see that I will move forward and keep investigating this information that is actually really cool. I really like this, first because I didn't need to add a lot of context to the, I didn't have to bring to the table, explain or elaborate or have some logic behind the fields. And also it was very, very interesting to see how quick this was built, given that the data that I had was just dummy data, 30 records. As I said, here you can see, for example, the headcount by department, and you can see that there's the stage department that has the most, and then the sound department has the lowest, and we're going to play a little bit with that at the end of almost the end of the video. Also the role distribution, which is not rocket science, I get it, but actually it's really relevant for HR departments to have a little bit of information about what is currently happening in all the places, in all the different departments. You can also see here we have the tenure per department, we have the headcount by department, and then we ask questions. If you hover over one of these dashboards, dashboards, you see that there's a tiny logo at the very top that says ask, that it says nothing, but it has the logo of Project Sophia or Business Research Agents, and you can dive into it and ask more questions. Here on the side, what I'm showing to you right now is more of what was the work that was done in the back to bring me this blueprint that we have here. So we have all the agents that I mentioned at the beginning, the data sources taking the data from where we brought it, the research agent bringing also a little bit of a combination between the plan and the data. And then finally, we have the user experience agent, which is basically what I asked for, the columns, the charts, the bar chart for, let's say, tenure and so on. Now that we're going back, you can see that we can go back to the front, of course, and we can amplify these reports in case you need to see it carefully, or you need to export it, or you need to actually get a screenshot of that specific chart. Then we're going to, you can see that in the same, we do basically the same with this other chart that's called role distribution, and you can also hover over. This is not rocket science, you know how it works. As I said, here we're going to ask a question, and because it's sitting sort of outside, that will be a question for the entire thing. Sorry, I went to average tenure here, and we're going to ask a question. I wasn't really creative at the moment with this, so I asked two separate questions, and I just try to find something that inspired me. So actually, the business research agent suggested me to ask the tenure by manager, which is a relevant information for HR, because we can understand how things work in the different departments and which managers are having a more turnover because reasons we don't know. You can see that I prompted, it's taking this data, it's going through again with the planner agent, and then it's going to go to the data agent and so on to generate this chart that I showed you earlier today. What we need to be mindful is about the prompting, because, well, there are two things that we will need to be very mindful. One is prompting, and the second one is data quality. So bad prompts lead to bad results, bad data leads to bad results. If you combine bad data and bad prompts, it's going to be a mess. So it's worth to just dive into these two topics and try to make sure you are getting the most of your information, and from this project, for example, from this research agent. You can see also the front and the back of the work. We see here that Rick Rubin has the highest number of years of the team, like spending with them. We maybe have to do something with Quincy Jones, but that's fine. And then we also see the distribution of the employees and the trend over time by any manager. This is great, but let's keep diving.